Right. The hadith that mentions that the brother is bringing that Shaitan came in the form of a man to Abu Hurairah when he was guarding the capital mal is a proof for Shaitan. We said Shaitans, the Shayateen taking the form of men. This I don't know about. Not the jinn, right. The Christians in the Middle Ages, they used to have the belief, or I should say they used to picture Shaitan as a black man, of course, with a pointed beard, raised eyebrows, a mouth that emits flames, horns and hoofs, and so on. Okay. They were right about one thing at least. Shaitan does have horns. In Sahih Muslim, Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma recorded that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا تحروا بصلاتكم طلوع الشمس ولا غروبها فإنها تطلع بين قرني شيطان. Don't pray when the sun is rising or when it's setting. Verily it rises and sets between the horns of Shaitan. And in Bukhari and Muslim, we also recorded that the Prophet ﷺ said, if the sun is setting, then leave the prayer until it disappears. And do not wait for your prayer until the sun is rising, nor while it's setting, for verily it sets and rises between the horns of Shaitan. These hadiths, of course, are referring to the pagans among the Arabs who used to worship the sun. Shaitan? I don't know about Shaitan praying. I know that he does have some type of worship, but I don't know about the praying. I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, this particular hadith doesn't say that he prays. Yeah, I used to hear this. I'm waiting for. Yeah, I used to hear that Shaitan prays 3 times a day, when the sun is rising, when the sun is at its highest point, when the sun is setting. But I have yet to. No one has brought this.
Actually, came from someone to see this man.
Yeah, inshallah, if we can find these hadiths, inshallah, we can check them out. The Prophet has also forbidden us to pray during the times when the sun is setting and rising, etc. Even though that's a discussion, that's a fifth discussion which we won't get into, because this is not absolutely a fact, absolutely true. All right. As far as the ability and strength of the shaitans and the jinn, Allah has given the jinn power and ability that He has not given the human being. Allah has informed us in the Qur'an about the Prophet Sulaiman, alayhi salam, when one of the ifrit of the satanic jinn promised him, Sulaiman, that he would be able to bring the throne of Bilqis to him, or Saba, bring it to Jerusalem in a period of the time that it would take a man before he could rise from his place. In Surah An-Naml, in the chapter called the Ant, verses 39 and 40, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قال عفريت من الجن أنا آتيك به قبل أن تقوم من مقامك وإني عليه لقوي أمين. And Ifrit, if we remember what Ifrit was, an Ifrit of the jinn says, I will bring it to you before you can rise from your place. Surely I am strong and trusty for such work. قال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب أنا آتيك به قبل أن يرتد إليك طرفك فلما رآه مستقرا عنده قال هذا من فضل ربي ليبلوني أشكر أم أكفر. And one who had knowledge of the book said, I will bring it to you before your gaze returns unto you, or before you can bat your eye, you can blink your eye. And when he saw it set in his presence, Sulaiman said, alayhi salam, this is of the bounty of my Lord, that he may try me whether I give thanks or I am ungrateful. Alright? I'd like to stop here and just quickly mention something. There are some Muslims that I've met in the past that believe that the individual that brought the throne was a jinn. This is not true. It wasn't a jinn that brought the throne. It was a human being. Yeah, because they're afraid of the jinn. But then when you keep reading, it says the one who had knowledge said, I can bring it to you before you can blink your eye. That's the one who brought it, not the jinn.
A human being was?
Yes. It was a human being, not the jinn.
You want to stop right there?
I'm going to stop in 10 minutes, inshallah. Why? We'll stop in 2 minutes. I'll stop in 2 minutes, inshallah. No. It's unanimously agreed among the scholars of the past. In any tafsir you look at Tabari, Al-Qurtubi, Ibn Kathir, all of them say the same thing. That it was a human being. His name was Asif. Yes, wasn't a human. If you read the context of the verse, it doesn't say the jinn did it. And it says, and one who had knowledge, means one who had knowledge of Allah's name, Al-Ism Al-A'zam, of the great name of Allah, he brought it. The jinn didn't bring it. If you keep reading, the next verse tells you.
He was an awliya.
He
was one of the awliya.
He was one that we can consider calling awliya Allah. Right. But most of the Muslims think there was a jinn. Okay, we're going to stop here, inshallah. I'm going to read these 2 questions to sisters, and inshallah, we'll come back after salat. It doesn't seem like we're going to be able to get to the messages the way we're going. Inshallah, we did our best. Please give the Arabic spelling for the 4 kinds of jinn that you previously stated. Inshallah, I'll write it on a piece of paper and send it back. Number 2, is there any proof that shaitans, or any proof that states that during the time of Adam, a portion of the population were the jinn? Absolutely. It's in the Qur'an. When the angel said, أَتَجْعَلُوا فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاءَ, are you going to place in the earth someone who is going to make mischief and cause bloodshed? This is the proof that the jinn were before. Also, the question is it true that the jinn hide in dolls and images? Absolutely not. It's not true. Wallahu a'lam. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. So after salat, we have a break, right? After salat? And then we come back. Anybody have a pen? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما مزيدا. وبعد. Inshallah, we'd like to try to finish this pertaining to al-jinn wa shayateen, inshallah. As the brother was mentioning before, this one of the aspects of the jinn is that they used to go to the lower heavens and listen to the malaika when they would get this information from Allah, from the angels who would get information from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And evidence for this
There's an ayah in Surah Jinn, appropriately, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, on the tongue of the jinn who spoke, وَأَنَّا لَمَسْنَا السَّمَاءَ فَوَجَدْنَاهَا مُلِئَتْ حَرَسًا شَدِيدًا وَشُهُبًا وَأَنَّا كُنَّا نَقْعُدُ مِنْهَا مَقَاعِدَ لِلسَّمْعِ فَمَنْ يَسْتَمِعِ الْآنَ يَجِدْ لَهُ شِهَابًا رَصَدًا. The Pictorially translates this as, and the jinn who had listened to the Qur'an said, we had sought the heavens but had found it filled with strong waters and meteors. Strong waters and meteors. And we used to sit on places high therein to listen, but he who listens now finds a flame and waits for him. And according to the Prophet ﷺ, he described how the jinn used to steal this information, eavesdropping on these messages in the heavens. And Abu Hurairah reported that the Prophet ﷺ informed him, when Allah decrees a matter in the heavens, the angels move their wings in submission to His word, which is like a chain on a smooth stone. When their hearts are delivered from fear, they say, what did your Lord say? And receive the reply, that which He said is the truth, and He is the Most High and the Most Great. Then those who listen by still hear it. Those who are nearby, they steal or they eavesdrop, meaning the jinn, and they are like this, some above others. And Sufyan, radiallahu anhu, who was the narrator of this particular hadith, illustrated this point by turning his hand over and separating his fingers. Then one who hears the word passes it on to the one below him, and so forth until one of them passes it to the tongue of a soothsayer or a diviner. And often a flame catches him before he's able to pass it on, but he mixes it with 100 lies. And people ask whether he didn't make such a statement on a specific date, or he believes because of that one word which was heard from the heavens. This hadith is transmitted by al-Bukhari in his Sahih. And this is a long, elaborate explanation in the Sunnah on how the jinn used to do this. And it's mentioned in a few places in the Qur'an how in the time of Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salatu wasalam, that they used to do this. And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has preserved them from doing this now. Also, in addition to this ilm that we have on the jinn and shayateen, we also know that they have knowledge of building and they have other crafts that they used to perform. Allah has informed us that the jinn was subjected to the control of Prophet Sulaiman, and they performed different feats for him, meaning the Prophet Sulaiman, which was evidence of their physical ability and their intelligence and their skill. There's an ayah in Surah Saba, verse 13, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions. The English translation of it is, and we gave him certain of the jinn who worked before him by permission of his Lord, and such of them as deviated from our command, then we caused to taste the punishment of flaming fire. They made for him what he willed. They made for him what he willed. Synagogues and statues, basins like wells, and boilers built into the ground. Give thanks, O house of Dawud, few of my bondsmen or few of my slaves are thankful. This is Surah Saba, verses 12 through 13. They also have the ability to connect between locations and reach places in a manner that I guess we could say is similar to television and radio. Ibn Taymiyyah, he mentions in his Fatawa, Majmu' Fatawa, rahimahullah, that some of the people who had contact with the jinn told him that the jinn showed them something sparkling like water or glass. And they show him there in whatever they want of news, apparently, something like a crystal ball. They used to have these things like crystal balls, which they still use today. And he would say, inform the people about it. As the brother mentioned earlier, these individuals are called mediums. And the soothsayers, the palm readers, the tarot card readers, etc. Sahir, yeah. Sahir is the singular. Yeah, Sahara is the plural. And then Ibn Taymiyyah said, and they also tell him the words of his friends who seek his help. He responds to their call, and the jinn convey his response. So, this ability of the jinn is something that is beyond our comprehension. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives to whom He pleases, and He gives to His creatures to whom He pleases. And we just believe what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, and what our beloved Prophet alayhi salatu said with his blessed tongue in the authenticated hadith, and what the Sahaba, how they understood it, and how they believed it. And we should leave it alone after that. They also have the ability to take the form of animals. And as the brother was mentioning earlier, I didn't know if they had the ability to take the form of human beings, but there seems to be some evidence that they can take the form of human beings. Saraqa ibn Nawfal, Saraqa ibn Malik, radiallahu anhu, he says, I should say Saraqa ibn Malik, he says that on the day of Badr, Shaitan approached the polytheists in the form of a man. Yeah. The Shaitan came in the form of a man named Saraqa ibn Malik and promised the polytheists to aid him on that day. And then Allah revealed this particular verse from Surah Anfal, verse 48, chapter 8, verse 48. So the Shaitan came in the form of Saraqa ibn Malik. And then Allah revealed this verse, وَإِذْ زَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ وَقَالَ لَا غَالِبَكُمُ الْيَوْمَ مِنَ النَّاسِ وَإِنِّي جَارٌ لَكُمْ. And when Shaitan made their deeds seem fair to them and said, no one of mankind can conquer you this day, for I am your protector. فَلَمَّا تَرَاءَتِ الْفِئَتَانِ نكص على عقبيه وقال إني بريء منكم إني أرى ما لا ترون إني أخاف الله والله شديد العقاب. But when the armies came in sight of one another, he took flight, saying, surely I am guiltless of you. Surely I see that which you see not. And surely I fear Allah, and Allah is severe in punishment. So this is an incident in which Shaitan came as this particular individual in the form of this man, Saraqa ibn Malik, and still doesn't give us concrete evidence that the shayateen themselves do this, but the shaitan, the shaitan singular.
Coming back to the saying he saw him hovering over him, telling him to do something. And he just said jinn in general, but I can't remember the whole circumstance, but it's in the book. And he told them that, and he had told his students that that wasn't me, that was a jinn, I did, in other words, one of them in the industry, something going to do,
Well, inshallah, bring the book and we'll check it out.
There are hadith that two of the countries, if you see me as a dream, that you see Shaitan is not in my face.
Right. Sahih. Absolutely. But at the same time, shaitan will make a person, it's called takhayyul. He will make the person think that he is seeing the Prophet because the person doesn't know what the Prophet looks like. So if the person doesn't know what the Prophet looks like, then shaitan can come and do that to them. Yes, I'm saying that, but it's a part of the sunnah, and we don't want to deviate from this, inshallah. But it's a part of the sunnah to know what the Prophet looked like. And if a person doesn't know what the Prophet ﷺ looked like, then shaitan can make them think that in their dreams that they have actually seen the Prophet. You know, many people claim to follow the sunnah, and most people, many people claim to follow the sunnah, but when you ask them what was the height of the Prophet, what was the width of his shoulders, what was the size of his feet, what was the length of his beard, according to the sunnah. I'm not talking about what these fairy tales that people are making up. I'm talking about according to authentic hadith. What did the Prophet look like? If we don't know that, absolutely shaitan can come to us with takhayyul and make us think that we've seen the Prophet. For instance, you hear some people saying, I had a dream and I saw the Prophet in my dream, and he was moving so slowly, and his beard was white, and his face was shining. This is not from Allah, this is from something else. Because the Prophet never in his life he had a white beard. And never the Prophet moved slowly. The Prophet always moved strong and fast. Now, as for the animals that the jinn may take their form, we have some examples like camels, donkeys, cows, dogs, cats, in particular a black cat. I don't know of any reference that mentions a pig. Camels, donkeys, cows, dogs, cats. In particular, a black dog.
Black dog or black cat?
Black dog and black cat. And the Prophet ﷺ said the black dog is the shaitan of the dog. We also know that the dog walks in front of you without the sutra, then of course, then your salat is interrupted. There's some other animals like snakes and also scorpions, but specifically a snake that has two white strips going down the back of it that's black. This has also been authenticated in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And we're not talking about just the evil jinn. We're talking about the jinn in general. The jinn can take the forms of snakes and appear in front of a human being.
But now, those jinns be Muslims then?
That's what I said in general. That's why I said it's just not the evil jinn. It's the jinn in general. Also, we know that the Prophet ﷺ has forbade us to kill the jinns that are found in the houses out of fear that jinn might be a Muslim.
Is that the same? Is that what I need to you must call them 3 times?
Right. We have the hadith that's collected in Muslim that says that Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu said that the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam said that a group of the jinn in Medina had embraced Islam. So he said, so any of you who sees them, he should warn him 3 times. And if it appears after that, he should be killed because he is a shaitan. فَإِنَّهُ shaitan. So this is something that the evidence for this. And one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ killed one of the snakes in his house, according to another narration, and he died. This is in this one's in Muslim. Right. Because of killing him and not following the procedure. Also, Abu Sa'id is reported went to Abu Sa'id al-Khudri's house radiallahu anhuma and found him while he was making salat. And he said that Abu Sa'id waited for him to finish the salat, and when he heard some rumbling in the bushes of the wood, which was lying in the corner of the house, he looked and he found that it was a snake. And he was about to kill it when Abu Sa'id gestured to him to sit down. And after the salat, Abu Sa'id pointed to a room and he said, "Do you see this room?" He said, "Yes." Abu Sa'id said, "There was once a man who was a newlywed, and he went to participate with the Prophet ﷺ in Ghazwat al-Khandaq, in the Battle of the Trench. And he said he used to ask the Prophet's permission to go with his wife. He used to ask the Prophet's permission to go to his wife, and the Prophet cautioned him to take along his weapons, for he feared an attack from behind from the tribe of Qurayza. The man took his weapons, and when he returned to his family, he found his wife standing between the doors of the apartment. He was enraged from the jealousy and took a stab at her with his spear. She told him to keep his spear away and to enter the house to see what had made her go outside. He entered and found a big snake on the bed. He struck it with his spear and pierced it. And then he had intended to take it outside, but the snake had enough strength to bite him. And then the narration goes on and says that they don't know, from that incident, they don't know if the man died first from it or the snake died first. They don't know. And the people made mention of this incident to the Messenger of Allah, ﷺ, asking him to ask Allah to bring that man back to life. Instead, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Istaghfiru li sahibikum," to seek forgiveness for your companion. He said, because in Medina, إن بالمدينة جنا قد أسلموا فإذا رأيتم منهم شيئا فآذنوه 3 أيام فإن بدا لكم بعد ذلك فاقتلوه فإنما هو الشيطان. He said, because in Medina there are jinn that have embraced Islam, and if any of you should see any of them, meaning see this snake, he should give him a warning for 3 days, and if it appears after that, he should be killed, because therefore it is a shaitan.
Is it true that jinn are married and have children?
Yeah, we mentioned it before the break. Yeah. We mentioned that there's no real evidence that we know of that they marry, but there is evidence that they have children. We know that they will be married in the Jannah. They will have mates, that is. But as far as the actual performance of a nikah, there's no real evidence that there's a performance of a nikah for the jinn. We mentioned this earlier. Yes.
Ayat Surah Al-Mujadila, Ayat 19, talks about the issue of shaitan and his law, the forces that start fighting. In reference to the battle place or any level.
No, the Hizbul Shaitan is not talking about battle. This is general. Just those who ally themselves with Shaitan. There's also a point that needs to be made mention, inshallah. I'm glad you mentioned that. which is not directly related to this topic, but it needs to be mentioned because it can be related. In the study of Ulum al-Qur'an, the science of Qur'an, there's a discipline within the science of Qur'an which is called Asbab al-Nuzul, the reasons for revelation. And there are verses in the Qur'an that are not revealed because of an event, but there are verses that were revealed because of the event, and then there's also verses that were revealed first and then the event happened. So, and then there's some that don't have any sabab at all. There's some ayat in the Quran that don't even have a reason. In the loose sense of the word, reason. Also, there's some important notes that need to be mentioned. Number one, the regulation concerning the prohibition of killing these animals in respect to the snakes, or in respect to the snakes only, and then not in respect to all animals. In other words, if a jinn takes the form of a cow, the regulation that the hukum that pertains to a snake doesn't pertain to the cow or the camel. It's not the same hukum. Number two, the regulation does not extend to every snake. It only extends to those that are found in the house. If a person finds it in the garden, then the hukum doesn't stand also. Because those who are found outside the house, they could be killed. The third thing is that if a person sees a snake in the house, then he should warn it. In other words, he should order it to leave. By saying something similar to, I adjure you to leave the house. I say Bismillah with the name of Allah. I command you to leave this house and take your evil away from us. And if you don't, I'll kill you. Something like this.
So, that snake is the one mentioned here with the white stripes. Any other snake?
No, according to this hadith, and we're coming to this inshallah. The fourth thing is that the reason that it is to be killed only after 3 days is a precautionary step in order to ensure that one doesn't kill a Muslim, a jinn that has become a Muslim. If there was such a jinn in the house, if he's a Muslim, we know based on the generality of the verses in the Quran, one of them at least, like in Surah Nisa, that mentions killing a Muslim intentionally, muta'ammidan. If the snake doesn't leave, then he deserves to be killed. That's all part of the fourth regulation. Because, of course, it's a non-believing jinn, it's rebellious, and Muslims submit. Number three is, if one sees a snake in the house, then he should warn it. He should order it to go out. Yeah. No, according to what we've learned from the ulama, there is no distinguishing mark, and about the jinn taking the form of cows or camels. Only the snakes. From what I've known, is only the snakes and a complete white dog. A complete black dog. Dogs that are completely black. It's interesting too. I mentioned this before, not here, but in New Jersey, that David Berkowitz, who's now in New York State Prison, the son of Sam. You know who Sam was, right? It was a black dog. Yeah. Yeah. He said that's the one who was telling him to take the .44 caliber and shoot the people. The dog. The dog was telling him. Yeah.
What's the regulation for the other animals?
There is no regulation. That's what I said. The hukum is not the same. There is no regulation.
You're saying that there's no particular word that...
There's nothing that you do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on Internet about not being mentioned, and the attitude of being possessed, of being a jinn. It's not necessarily so that
yeah, we're going to come to it, inshallah. We still haven't gotten to it. For the sisters who can't hear, if there are any sisters back there, the brother was just mentioning, he's reiterating or bringing back what we mentioned earlier about the word majnoon, that it literally means one who's been touched or one who's possessed by the jinn. And I said earlier that it doesn't necessarily mean so. And we're going to come to that inshallah. There's the hadith of Abu Lubaba radiallahu anhu in al-Bukhari. This is, of course, regarding the fifth regulation. And that is the type of snake that's found in the house. You give a special permission to kill. The Prophet ﷺ said, لا تقتلوا الجنان إلا كل أبرزي طفيلتين فإنه يسقط الولد ويذهب البصر فاقتلوه. Don't kill the jinn except any of them that has two streaks on his back. So they cause what? No. Hear it again. Don't kill the jinn except everyone with two streaks on the back. Because they cause what? Anybody know what they cause? If you look in the back of Dr. Maurice Bouquet's book on the Bible, the Qur'an, and science, he unfortunately denies and rejects the Sunnah. And while I'm on this point, and I don't want to belabor this is not a good book to give to non-Muslims for da'wah. And I'm going to leave it like that, and I don't want to discuss it, inshallah. But in the back of his book, he rejects some of the sunnah. And one of the sunnahs that he rejects, sunnah here meaning hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, is this particular hadith that this jinn causes miscarriages. If this jinn, as a snake, in the form of a snake, goes in front of a person's pregnant wife or pregnant woman, it can cause her to have a miscarriage. And it can also take away the eyesight. And that's why the Prophet said, فَقْتُلُوهُ, kill him. And lastly, Sheikh Umar al-Asqar, he asked the question, is every serpent of the jinn? Is every serpent of the jinn? Or are there only some of them? And he mentioned the hadith, or the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Hayyatu Musikh al-Jinn Suratan. That the snakes are the transmutations of the shapes of the jinn, كما مسخت القردة والخنازير من بني إسرائيل. The same way that the apes and swine are transmutations of the tribes of the Jews, or the children of Israel. And this is collected by At-Tabarani and Abu Shaykh in his book called Al-Ulma, with an authentic chain. Yeah. Transmutation of the jinn, of the shapes of the jinn. In the same way that the apes and the swine were transmutations of the people from Banu Israel. Also, we know that shaitan flows in the descendants of Adam like the blood flows through a vein. And there's some difference of opinion among the scholars of Ahl Sunnah about this. Some say that he doesn't literally flow through the blood, flow through the veins like blood, and some say he does. But nonetheless, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he was making i'tikaf, and his wife came, and then the two men saw him coming with his wife, and he told them who his wife was, and of course they said that we will never suspect anything bad of you, Messenger of Allah. Subhanallah, Ya Rasulullah. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, Inna shaytana yajri min ibn Adam majra ad-dam. Shaitan flows in the human like the flowing of blood. وَإِنِّي خشيت أن يقذف في قلوبكما شرا, and I fear that he will create some evil allegation or suggestion in your heart. So some of the people say, yes, this is literal, and some of the people of Ahl Sunnah say, no, based on the context of this hadith, this means something else. Similar to that, and similar to the one about rinsing your nose out because shaitan is in the minkhar, or the mankhar, or the nostrils, inside the nostrils. Nonetheless, unless there's some absolute proof against it, then we should accept the way the Prophet ﷺ said it. If he said it, then that's enough for us. Also, we know that in some aspects the jinns and shaitans are strong, and in other aspects they're weak, because we mentioned the verse of Qur'an in Surah Nisa, in the case of shaitan kana da'ifa, that the plot of shaitan is weak. As for what the shaitan, what power they have, the shaitan himself and the evil ones among the jinn haven't been given complete ability to compel the human being or to force them to misguidance or disbelief. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in the Qur'an in quite a few places. One is in Surah Isra, verse 65, that's chapter 17, verse 65, and also in Surah Saba, verse 20 to 21, and also in Surah Al-Hijr, verses 39 to 40. I go over it again. Surah Isra, which I believe is chapter 17, verse 65, and chapter called Saba, which I believe is what, 34, verses 20 to 21, and also in Surah Hijr, chapter 15, verse 39 and 40, and also in 42, and also in Surah Ibrahim, chapter 14, verse 22. These verses mention shaitan not having any power over the human being, except for the human being that commits shirk and kufr and put their trust in him. As Allah says, إِنَّمَا سُلْطَانُهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ يَتَوَلَّوْنَهُ. And surely the only authority and power that he has is those over the ones who befriend him, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِهِ مُشْرِكُونَ, and those who commit shirk. Those are the only ones he has power over. As for those who believe and believe in the Tawheed and they put their trust in Allah, he has no power over them. Also, we know that the human being shaitan has been empowered to have authority over the human being when they commit sins. As the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith that's collected by Al-Hakim and Al-Bayhaqi with a Hasan chain, Allah is with the judge as long as he doesn't commit any injustice. If he commits any injustice, Allah is free from him and leaves him with shaitan. إن الله تعالى مع القاضي ما لم يحد فإذا جار تبرأ منه وألزمه الشيطان. Up until the time that he leaves off the injustice.
I mean, not we're saying from doing the act and then until he makes over.
Making tawbah also includes leaving off the act. Now there's not a lot that there are not a lot of things that are mentioned about the jinn and shayateen that are authentic. And we will pass right over those, inshallah, those things that are not authentic. So, in the conclusion, we want to mention now just some other aspects that we need to know, and that is, if a person is steadfast and they hold on to the Book of Allah and the authentic Sunnah of our beloved Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, then the shaitan has no, he has a fear of escaping. He fears that some of the creatures are going to obey Allah, and he has no power. وسلم told Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, إن الشيطان ليفرق أو ليفرق منك يا عمر. He said, surely shaitan flees from you, Umar. He runs from you. This is recorded by Ahmed and At-Tirmidhi, Ibn Hibban with an authentic chain. He also said about Umar, I see the shaitans of the jinn and mankind fleeing from you. This hadith is also authentic. Then we also have the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, إن المؤمن لينسى شيطانه كما ينسى أحدكم بغيره في السفر. And this is collected by Imam Ahmed. The believer seizes the Satan by the forelock in the same way that one of you seizes his camel by the forelock when you're traveling. So this means that when a person has strong iman and they stick tenaciously to the sunnah of our beloved Prophet ﷺ, the shaitan not only doesn't have any power over him, he has power over shaitan, and he can move him anytime, any way he wants. And also, we have the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in Muslim and Ahmed, that he said, there is not one of you who does not have a partner from among the jinn and his partner from among the angels put over him. The people asked, even you, O Messenger of Allah ﷺ? He said, وَإِيَّايَ. He said, وَإِيَّاكَ? He said, وَإِيَّايَ, including me. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ أَعَانَنِي عَلَيْهِ فَلَا يَأْمُرُنِي إِلَّا بِخَيْرٍ. He says, but Allah has given me help against him, and therefore he only commands me to do good.
What are those that are signs now? The angels on both sides of the
Yeah, there's no reference in the Qur'an that says that there's an angel and a jinn on the sides of us. I don't know of any verse or hadith that mentions where exactly they are. It just says that they are with us. One incites us to do the good, and the other one incites us to do the evil. We mentioned this yesterday. At least about the angels we mentioned yesterday. Yeah, one is an angel and one is a jinn. One is the angel that incites you to do good, and the jinn, of course, incites you to do evil. And of course, the Prophet ﷺ, when Aisha asked him about his jinn, the Prophet said, "A'anani alayhi fa'aslam," that he helped me against him and he submitted. This point, I just want to make one quick point, is that there are people who think that the Prophet made his jinn submit. This is not true. The Prophet did not make his jinn submit. It was Allah who made the jinn submit. Yes.
Also, at all times, there are two jinns with us. One to take down our thoughts and one to write down what we do.
No. There are two angels. One is on the right, Raqib, and one is on the left, Atid. Raqib writes down the good deeds. Atid is on the left, he writes down the bad deeds. And then you have an angel called a Qareem that incites you to do good. And you have a Qareem from the jinn that incites you to do evil. So it's three angels and one jinn.
So, I read Allah made great chicken and eagle because of his circumstances. More than any number of angels carry out what he had to carry out.
With any number?
Any number of angels carry out a task Islam.
Yes, the brother is saying that he has read where Allah, if a person, because of their ibadah, that Allah will give them any amount of angels to help them carry out a task. Yet this may be true, but this is not in reference to what the brother just said. These are angels that are assigned to us whether you carry out your ibadah or not. Even the kuffar have these angels.
Oh, it's recorded.
Right. Kiram and Katibin. Right. Qur'an Katabiyya, which is the descriptions of the angels. Yes. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, because we only have less than 2 hours left. Sure. We also have the proof from the Qur'an and the authenticated Sunnah of our beloved Prophet ﷺ that the jinn are incapable of performing miracles like those of the messengers. If we check the surah called Shu'ara, verses 2:10 to 2:12, we'll find the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَمَا تَنَزَّلَتْ بِهِ شَيَاطِينَ وَمَا يَنبَغِي لَهُمْ وَمَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ إِنَّهُمْ عَلَى السَّمْعِ لِمَعْزُولُونَ. The shaitan did not bring it down. It is not meant for them, nor is it in their power, meaning the Qur'an. So some of the kuffar alleged that the Qur'an was from shaitan, from the workings of shaitan. But Allah says, but surely they are banished from the hearing. Also, the jinn are not able to go beyond the limit set for them in the sky. And we mentioned something similar to this before. And also, they're not able to open locked doors. They're not able to open locked doors. Any locked doors? Only the locked doors that Bismillah is said when you go through them, when you lock the door. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, اجيفوا الأبواب واذكروا اسم الله عليها فإن الشيطان لا يفتح بابا أجيف عليه. Close the doors and mention Allah's name upon them, for shaitan cannot enter a door that has been closed up upon him. This hadith is collected by Abu Dawud, Ahmad ibn Hibban, and Al-Hakim, and it is authentic with an authentic chain. Again, the Prophet ﷺ said, this is collected by Imam Bukhari and Muslim, فإن الشيطان لا يفتح بابا مغلقا وأوقوا قربكم واذكروا اسم الله وخمروا آنيتكم واذكروا اسم الله ولو أن تعرضوا عليها شيئا وأطفئوا مصابيحكم. The devil does not open a shut door. Tie your buckets and mention Allah's name over them, even if it's just putting something over it, and extinguish your lamp. And also in the Muslim of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal with an authentic chain, the Prophet ﷺ said, أغلقوا أبوابكم وخمروا آنيتكم وأوقوا أصدقنكم وأطفئوا سرجكم فإن الشيطان لا يفتح بابا مغلقا ولا يكشف غطاء ولا يحل وكاء. Close your doors and cover your vessels and tie up your water skins and put out your lamps, for shaitan does not open a door, nor does he take off a cover, nor does he untie water skins. And with that we end with jinn and shayateen. Though it's not ended, but we're ending, inshallah. And if we can, we're going to use the next couple of minutes just for questions, and then we're going to move to the messengers, inshallah. Yes, inshallah.
Covering the water vessels in relation to now, does that mean
The pots.
the pots, yeah,
Right.
the glasses or
Pots and your bottles and your jars and your...
what I'm trying to get at, is there a time on this? Say for instance, if I walk out of the room, I can cover these items, or
Well, according to the rules of usul in Sharia, a commandment, this is a basic rule, that doesn't necessarily mean at all times this rule can be applied, but there's a basic rule that says al-amru yaqtadi al-fawr, which means command necessitates immediacy. So we should just take it upon ourselves to do it immediately. When we realize that it's like that, do it immediately. Couple them up.
Some jinn have the ability to kill.
Absolutely, the jinn has the ability to kill. Bi-idhnillah, by the permission of Allah. No. And one proof of that is the incident with the companion with the snake that we mentioned.
That is so question. That's it. That he could have the big, strong, powerful jinn.
Right, we mentioned it. We mentioned it 3. We mentioned the different names of the Ibn Abdul Bar, radiallahu anhu, rahimahullah. He mentioned, according to the Arabic language, that jinn have different names, and we mentioned them earlier. Yeah, that's right. You didn't remind us. Say that again. Yeah, the question is that did in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, were there any incidences of jinn possession? And absolutely, there were.
One thing is recommended in that he increased the change. Read Baqarah over the persons where they live. And common wisdom, having to down at someone preach with the Baqarah at the junction.
Yeah, definitely the Surah Al-Baqarah.
And the 4 Qul.
Yeah, definitely Surah Al-Baqarah and Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Falaq and Nas, and any of the Qur'an. Those and any of the Qur'an. Doesn't make any difference what verses of Qur'an it is. It could be verses that deal with war, it could be verses that deal with mincy, it could be verses that deal with inheritance, it could be verses that deal with child custody. Doesn't make any difference what it is. Qur'an is Qur'an. Doesn't make any difference to help exercise someone. But there's some other added things also, because there's some dua that you can make, and the Prophet ﷺ made some type of dua. We should try to implement those. Now,
my question goes back to jinn having the ability to kill, but have to take on a physical form.
Allah knows best that they have to take on a physical form for them to have the ability to kill. Allah knows best. Allah knows best. No.
I heard you say, I heard you say that the jinn that name is locked doors. So can they
that the name of Allah has been mentioned over.
Okay, so can they open the unlocked doors?
Open unlocked doors?
Yeah.
Allah knows best. Yeah. I try my best to stick to the text. Whatever the text says, that's what I go with. I don't try to, Allah knows best.
Now, are you saying that the jinn, that people can be possessed by the jinn nowadays?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jinns can be possessed by people. Or possess people. It happens every day. It happens every single day. I've seen exorcisms with my own eyes. And I'm with you today. I've seen with my own eyes people being exorcised. I've seen it with my own eyes. People being exercised with jinns. Close them sitting to this microphone.
Distinction, where you're speaking, could make them divide the jinn and the shaitan. One, the jinn is by itself, and the shaitan is one who antagonizes humans.
Right.
What distinction is it between?
Yeah, the shaitan is used interchangeably with jinn. Shaitan is Iblis. We can't call the jinn Iblis. But we call shaitan with a definite article alif lam. The shaitan is Iblis. Right. We went through this, no. There's no absolute proof that jinn marry humans or humans marry jinn. We went through this before the break. Right. There's a hadith that says shaitan, and there's a hadith that says shayateen. Tafsidu shayateen. Right. Masih al-Dajjal is a human creature from among Bani Adam, not a jinn. Masih al-Dajjal, وَنَسْأَلُ اللَّهُ الْعَافِيَةَ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ, is not from the jinn. All the shayateen are locked up. In order for someone to say that all the shayateen are not locked up, they have to bring a text. How they're locked up is a different issue. But to say that they're not is to say the Messenger of Allah is telling Allah.
I had talked to him about this, and he has an article. I don't know if it's his, but the article is also not locked up.
Then he has to bring a text. If he brings a text that excludes, that specifies that all the jinn or all the shayateen are not locked up, then if he has this text, then we say, well, Allah says in the Qur'an, قُلْ آتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ, bring your proof if you're truthful. If he has a text, authenticated hadith, that says that this hadith means certain shaitans, then we can go with it. But until then, the Messenger of Allah said, shayateen. That's all of them. I said there's no explicit evidence that says they do. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned us having made min anfusikum, from ourselves. And the jinn are created from fire, and they're no longer fire, they're wind, according to Abdullah ibn Abbas. They're no longer fire. They're no longer fire. They're created from wind. Human beings created from mud, but we're no longer mud. So what we marry from Allah mentions in the Qur'an, and Allah mentions that they will marry, that the human being and the jinn will have mates of themselves. So there's no indication, or an indication meaning proof from Qur'an and Sunnah, or from the Sahaba, or from even the Tabi'un, radiallahu anhum, that jinn marry human beings, or vice versa. If someone has a clear-cut, authentic text, bring your proof of your truth. Now, this is only the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah. No, it's no longer fire. No, the creature called jinn now is a creature that is made of, the essence of it is wind, and it's moist and cool in the texture of it. And the proof for this is that the Prophet ﷺ, when he caught the jinn who tried to spit on him in one instance, or in another instance tried to distract him from the salah, he caught him, and the Prophet said the lip of the jinn was on his hand when he was holding the jinn, and he said it was buruzat, it was cool and moist. He said, I intended to strap it to the pillar of the masjid so the children of Medina could make fun of it. The jinn are no longer fire. Just like you are no longer mud. It had the form that it came to the Prophet that wasn't mentioned. What that form is, I don't know. Now,
you didn't go over it, I don't believe, in the lecture, but you mentioned it briefly yesterday as far as magic. That's a brief question as far as like Harry Blackstone's being the magic kid. Is that?
Yeah, we mentioned yesterday that sihr, which is a branch of kufr, magic, which is a branch of kufr, is according to the kuffar, has three types. We mentioned it yesterday. There's black magic, there's gray magic, and there's white magic. According to the kuffar, the black magic is the magic that the Muslims believe, which is getting in contact with the jinn and making people think that you're performing these miracles for evil purposes. The gray magic that the kuffar mentioned is now called wicker. W-I-C-K-E-R, wicker. Right? And the white magic is the sleight of hand stuff that you see Blackstone Jr. and Doug Henning and these type of people doing. This is the white magic. This is through mirrors and wires and props and, you know.
That forbidden in Islam.
Are you saying is this forbidden? We mentioned this yesterday, that this is tadlis. If the person who's doing this is making someone think that they're actually performing this is deception. And whoever cheats and deceives us is not us. But if they tell the person this is only a trick, I've studied this, it's a sleight of hand, and I'm not really doing this, it's for entertainment. Allahu Akbar. We can't, I wouldn't say that it's haram. Alaykum salam.
About the Khinzab, Adib, source, the specific jinn that distracts people when they come. Further illustration.
The jinn that distracts people when they make salah is called khanzab, or khunzab, or khinzab. You can say dhamma, fatha, or kasra. Yeah, khanzab. Yeah, this is a jinn that distracts the people when they make salah. Specific type of jinn that we didn't mention. Like I said, there was a lot of things we could have mentioned, and this is one that we did.
One announcement we got at Adib.
Is this about the jinn and shaitan? Okay. Alright, so can we go on now to the books if there's no more questions about jinn and shaitan? I guess there's no sisters back there, right? Well, they don't have any questions. Okay. Hold on just a minute. Go ahead.
My understanding is that there's good jinns and bad jinns.
Yes. And you came late, obviously.
But all jinns are supposed to make salah.
Not necessarily. No. It's like all human beings don't make salah.
But they are ordered to make salah too, right?
Those who believe are ordered to make salah.
Well, what do the good jinns and bad jinns, do they be in battle? Or they just be...
Do the good jinns and bad jinns, are they in battle?
Do they battle each other?
I don't know of any verses of Qur'an or hadith that says they battle each other. I don't know of any verses that say they battle each other. No.
So, is there anything in the authentic sense about closing the bathroom door because of the jinn? You know what I mean?
As far as closing the bathroom door, I don't know of any verse of Qur'an or any hadith that tells you to close the bathroom door because they didn't have bathroom doors in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But it would be a rational and logical conclusion that if this is one of the places that the shayateen of the jinn frequent, and you want them to stay out or stay in, or which side you're looking from, then you say Bismillah and you close the door.
So they can be confined by south structure.
Yeah, we mentioned it. You may not have been here. Yeah.
This is a question a few years ago about making wudu in the bathroom. The school I just never made wudu. The place we made wudu was one place. The place we made call of nature was somewhere else. Because we should make wudu in bathroom.
This is not related to the jinn and shaitan. No, this is not the reason why the Prophet ﷺ changed the place where he made wudu and he relieved himself. The reason why the Prophet ﷺ changed his place from making where he relieved himself is because he didn't want the najis getting on his clothes. It has nothing to do with shaitan or the jinn. It has nothing to do with this. even though there's no dua that you recite the name of Allah when you relieve yourself or wudu. There's no dua. There's no dua in existence authentic that says you say the name of Allah when you're making wudu. I mean, while you're making it. The only thing that you know, according to Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, rahimahullah, he mentions in Zad al-Ma'ad, in the second volume of Zad al-Ma'ad, if my memory serves it correctly, that the only thing you say in the beginning is Bismillah, and the dua at the end, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu, Allahumma aj'alni min at-tawwabin wa aj'alni min al-mutatahhirin. That's it. There's no dua while you're making dua, not while you're making wudu. It doesn't exist. Not authentic, no. No, there is none. And inshallah, we can stick to shaitan and jinn. Inshallah. That's it? Okay, now we can go to the prophets and messengers. Inshallah. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam wa rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahabatihi ajma'in. We have less than an hour and 45 minutes left. So inshallah, we'll try our best. Just a minute. Okay, inshallah, we can begin this on the prophets and messengers. And inshallah, I think there may be some things that you may be surprised, inshallah. No handout. Unfortunately. The first thing we'd like to mention is that we follow suit with our belief of Allah and the angels. The same principles pertain to the belief in the prophets and messengers. Inshallah, once again, there's a lot of information that we wish that we could give, but time doesn't permit it, and neither does health. But inshallah, we'll try to do as best as we can. We'll try to give at least some new information. Bismillah. First of all, there are 4 things that we need to know pertaining to the messengers and prophets. 4 things. And the first, this is relative to our iman. The first is that we should believe that their message is from Allah, the Most High, and that it's true. Number one, that it is true, and it's from Allah. And whoever believes in one of the scriptures that came to the prophets before, they believe in all of them. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Qur'an. كَذَّبَتْ قَوْمُ نُوحٍ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. That Noah's people denied the messengers. So whoever disbelieves in one messenger, disbelieves in all of them. So, we ask Allah to keep us far away from that. The second thing is that we should have iman or belief and what we've learned of the names of the prophets. Those that we've learned and those that we haven't learned. Whatever their names are, we accept them. Allah says this is their name, that's their name. The Prophet ﷺ said that's their name, that's their name. Authentic hadith of Sahaba saying that's their name, that's their name. That's it. We accept their names, that's it. Those names that we don't know about, we don't add a name and say, oh, the name was really this or that. Or, no. Whatever Allah says, and whatever the Prophet says, alayhi salatu wasalam, that's it. This is important. An example of those names, of course, is Muhammad, Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, and Nuh. And these, of course, the scholars of Islam call them Ulul Azm. Ulul Azm. These are the ones that are endowed with a lot of determination and ability. And they excel the other messengers. And they are superior to the other ones. The third thing is that we should affirm and confirm that which has been authenticated from their narration, from the information that they have given us. Of course, those things that can be confirmed. And the fourth and final thing that's imperative for us as far as Iman is concerned is that we should implement the Sharia that the Prophet ﷺ has brought us, who is the finality of the Prophet. We should implement what he brought. as much as we can. Whatever we can do, we should implement it. Affirming and confirming that which that is the veracity of their report. In other words, we believe that not only do we believe in what was revealed in the Qur'an, we believe that everything that all the prophets brought. We believe that their message is true. We believe they are true, whatever they brought. Yes, the only dalil, of course, we have to go to is the Qur'an and the Sunnah. Okay. We don't have a lot of time, so we're going to try our best to get as much as we can. The word Nabi, and I don't have time to spell it, unfortunately. The word Nabi, some of the people, or most of the people of knowledge, they say that this word comes from the verb naba'at, which means to give information, to inform. It means khabar. Naba'at means, naba means khabar. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an in chapter 78, عَمَّ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ النَّبَإِ الْعَظِيمِ. And what are they asking about? They're asking about an-naba' al-azim, the tremendous news. The word that naba comes, the word that naba means, which is khabar, which means information, regarding the prophets of Allah and the Prophet Muhammad himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This particular word has two aspects. One, meaning the word prophet. One, it means that the prophet is mukhbar, the one who receives revelation, and he's also, or the one who receives information from his Lord, and also he's mukhbir, the one who gives the information. So he's both. He's mukhbar and mukhbir. He's the one who receives it and gives it. One of the proofs that lets us know that he's mukhbar is the verse in Surah Al-Tahrim, chapter 66, verse 3, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَالَتْ مَنْ أَنْبَأَكَ هَذَا قَالَ نَبَّأَنِي الْعَلِيمُ الْخَبِيرُ. This is the incident when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told Aisha radiallahu anha something, and when he confided with her, and she gave up the information, she divulged it, and Allah made him aware of it. She said, "Who told you?" He said, "What? Nabba'ani." Nabba'ani from the word naba'a. This is what some of the scholars say the word nabi comes from. Nabba'ani al-alim al-khabir. The one who is the knower, the aware, told me. The one who's the knower, the aware, told me. So this means here that the Prophet is mukhbar. Mukhbar. He's the one who is informed. Then, a proof that he is the one who informs is in Surah Hijr. Surah Hijr, Al-Hijr, chapter 15, verse 49, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet, نَبِّئْ عِبَادِي أَنِّي أَنَا الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Announce or inform, O Muhammad, unto my servants that surely I am the forgiving, the merciful. So here, the Prophet is a mukhbir. He's an informer. In fact, the technical word for an informant, a snitch, is mukhbir. When a person is a CIA or FBI informant or police informant, they call him a mukhbir, person who is an informant. No, this is different. Jasus is different. Jasus is a spy. not necessarily informing. The difference? We don't want to get into it.
My boss told me that.
Okay. So the word Nabi, most of the people say, and most of the people of knowledge, they say that the word Nabi comes from the verb naba'a, which means to inform. But some others say that no, the word Nabi comes from the word nebwa, which means something that is nabwa is something that is elevated from the ground, something that has been risen up from the ground and is used as a marker or a landmark to show you something, like a sign that comes out of the ground and it's used to show. And the reason why they say it comes from this is because they say the prophets are elevated over the other people of creation, and they indicate, they directing you to the Jannah.
So you would say more so to show?
No, I would say exactly what I just said. That it's the word nebwa means something that's elevated from the ground and it's used like a landmark. And the reason they call the prophets that is because they're ashraful ibad. They're the most honorable of all creatures, of the servants of Allah, and they're informing and guiding people to that which is going to benefit them in this life and the next. As far as the definition of Rasul, this is linguistic now, by the way. Let me make that point. The definition I just gave of a prophet is not the religious meaning. That's the literal meaning. That's the literal meaning. Alright? The literal linguistic meaning of a Rasul basically has two aspects. Number one, it means tawjih, which means like direction. Like when you turn your face towards something, or someone turns your face towards a certain direction, this is called tawjih. Like for instance, you come in the masjid, or you find somebody in the park or wherever, you find a brother who's not facing the qibla, and you put your hands on his shoulder and you turn him towards the qibla. This is called tawjih. That action that you just did is the linguistic meaning of Rasul. You see? Why? Because he's showing you which way to go. He's showing you the way to go. Alright? And there is also the meaning of this is that, or I should say part of that first meaning is that, for instance, if I send you with an important matter, say, here, take this, and go to cross town. You are now linguistically called a Rasul. The literal meaning of what you are now is a Rasul. Because I'm directing you towards a certain place, giving you something important. That's why DHL, UPS, the post office, they have messengers. They have messenger service. See? So you can't say that person is not a Rasul. Linguistically, they are Rasul. But religiously, there's no Rasul after Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Another meaning of the word Rasul linguistically means to come one after the other. The meaning of Rasul means to be mutataba'. It means to go one after the other in succession. Yes. The question from the sisters is, what is the difference between a Nabi and a Rasul? Inshallah, we're going to come to it. Inshallah. Okay. The next thing we want to mention is, what is the difference between a Nabi and a Rasul? There are some people who say that the difference between a Rasul and a Nabi is that a Rasul is one that is sent, that is given the wahi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he is sent to go out and convey that message. And that a Nabi is one who is given the wahi of Allah and is not sent out to convey. Also, some people say that Rasul is one who's given a book, meaning the Wahy, and a Nabi is not. This is not true. This is totally unfounded in the Qur'an and the Sunnah. This is totally unfounded in the Book of Allah and the Sunnah. Both of them are given a scripture, both of them are given Wahy, and both of them are told to go out and spread the message. Both. There is a difference, but that's not the difference. That's not the difference. If we turn to the surah called Hajj, Al-Hajj, chapter 22, verse 52, there's explicit evidence that there's a difference between a prophet and a messenger, and that difference is not that they receive revelation and one is not told to go out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن قَبْلِكَ مِن رَسُولٍ وَلَا نَبِيٍّ إِلَّا إِذَا تَمَنَّى أَلْقَى الشَّيْطَانُ فِي أُمْنِيَتِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the English translation says, never have we sent a messenger or a prophet before you, but when he recited the message, Shaitan proposed opposition in respect of that which he recited there. Alright? So in this particular verse, this is evidence because that they are different in one aspect, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes a distinction, prophet and messenger. As for what many of the scholars are saying that we mentioned earlier, that one is given a book and one is not, or one is given the Wahy and one is not, this is unfounded for a couple of reasons. Number one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Maryam, which is chapter 19, this is the first proof. Chapter 19, verse 51, Allah says, وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ مُوسَى, and make mention in the book Musa. إِنَّهُ كَانَ مُخْلَصًا وَكَانَ رَسُولًا نَبِيًّا. That surely he was chosen, special, and he was a messenger, prophet. He was a messenger, prophet. So he was both. Alright? So that's the first. That's the first evidence.
So we can say messengers, all messengers can be prophets, all prophets can't be
Yes. All messengers are prophets, but all prophets are not messengers. Absolutely. Why? Why all prophets messengers? Why not both ways? Because a messenger, we'll come into that, inshallah. The second proof that refutes the fact that they haven't been given the Wahy is, or that they haven't been commanded to go out and spread it, the prophet that is that anyone, a layman, who studies anything of Aqidah, especially of Iman and the belief in the prophets and messengers, knows that anyone who conceals knowledge, this is a crime.